do we have here? This is a little bit interesting, isn't it? Now, I'm sure you guys remember right when SnowRunner came out, or shortly thereafter, Banks released this particular truck. Now, the only thing is, Banks hasn't really touched that truck in a very, very, very long time. Now, basically, fast forward almost a year later, and a new modder basically asked Banks if he could continue on the legacy of this truck, and he basically said, go for it. Pretty much literally. So the default suspension is obviously much higher than what this truck came on previously, and you can see it looks like it's running some BFG KM3s. That's what the tires at least look like, and it's actually really cool. You can see the secondary fuel filters down there and everything. The leaf springs look a little stretched, but don't worry about it. Now, this thing is actually really interesting because it started life as an F350 Platinum, obviously by Banks. You can see right there on the logo. And I don't necessarily think that this thing would be able to make it to consoles, obviously because it says F350, it says Platinum, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's still got those logos that would not be acceptable for consoles. However, the modder that did all of this work has actually added quite a few features that I was really interested in checking out and also going through with you guys. Now, full disclosure, this is my very first experience of this truck in this configuration, or I should say of this version. And so we're going to walk through it together and see what it's all about. Still got that classic sound. Oh my god. You fire it up and it's already rolling the coal at idle. Whoa, this must be the flexible suspension because it is like, the body roll is like from another planet, dude. Oh boy. All right, so you got the slow engine and the Ricky Bobby engine. The Ricky Bobby engine is the default. Now, transmission-wise, you've got stock and you've got tuned. I'm going to leave it on tuned because that's what it comes with by default, yet again. You have 3 suspension options: stock, towing, and flexi. We're going to go with the flexi one because that seems to be sort of the focus of what this mod is about. Now, these tires are obviously not matched scale-wise to what the height says in the game because it says these are 83-inch tires. I don't think that's accurate. Do you? Yeah, I didn't think so. So, 83, 87, 91, 94, and 98. Again, I don't think any of those sizes are accurate, but I'm going to go with the biggest one because it's not actually all that huge in relation to the truck, and I think the lift size on the truck really does a good job of showcasing that wheel and tire size. Now, we're going to go with the quote-unquote best winch. Basically, that probably means just, like, wildly long distance. And frame add-ons, we do seem to have a couple. So we've got transfer tank, and we've got a welder. Now, these should help us in the event that we need repairs or extra fuel. Let's see, they actually both have almost the exact same specs, except for the transfer tank obviously has a lot more fuel units. So we'll use those a little bit later, or if we decide to use this thing in a campaign scenario. Now, wheels-wise, you have 2 different wheel options. You have these hostile wheels, and you have these as well. These look like forces. If they're not, I may be getting that wrong. Somebody let me know in the comment section down below what the actual model name of these wheels are, but we're probably going to stick with the hostile wheels for now, because I'm not necessarily the biggest on chrome wheels, but it all depends. Like, sometimes I like them, but other times, like, I go back and forth. So, let's see. And decorations, you don't really have anything right now, but let's go ahead and see what this thing actually drives like. And, of course, I'll leave a link in the description down below to where you guys can check this mod out. Now, it does look like you do have a full trailer selection available, so we are going to go ahead and check that out. And let's see what the lights look like. Okay, so the lights actually look really, really good. You got the cab lights, you got the mirror lights, and even the fogs come on. I dig that, actually. Now, with how roly-poly this suspension setup is, I could 100% see this truck, like, absolutely just flipping red. Whoa! Okay, so it's designed for the lifted gooseneck. Oh my god. Yeah, without the flexi suspension, obviously. But these other trailers, it looks like it might need a little bit of work because the only hitch spot is very high. Now, there's obviously, I mean, and he said this in the mod page, there's some things that need to be worked on with this truck, but again, I think it's a really good start, and I think it's actually a natural evolution for Banks' rig, because it was always a gorgeous looking rig, and I had always hoped that he would add more onto it, but, you know, I'm sure he moved on to other things, and I'm really glad to see, you know, a member of the community picking this thing up and carrying on with it, because it is a gorgeous truck. I mean, look at that thing. That thing is like, it could basically be like, you know, something you'd see at a high-end truck meet. It could be something you'd see like at, Like at SEMA, for example. You know, there's all sorts of different places that you could wind up seeing this truck, or at least a truck like this. Now let's, whoa, come on. I don't know what the heck that weird hiccup was back there, but let's see how she drives. Oh my God. Yeah, driving fast with the flexi setup, it's very sketchy. Very sketchy. I don't know if I would recommend driving fast with the flexi suspension unless you want some wacky entertainment. Oh boy. Oh God. It didn't seem to like that very much, and it got some weird, like, phantom damage from out of nowhere. Let's see what the flex looks like. Oh boy. Oh God. Well, I see what he was going for. The flex is, like, ridiculous. The flex is off the charts. It's in another realm, in another dimension. Absolutely freaking silly. Let's see how it does over these rocks with the lockers on. Probably fine, except for, uh-oh. I love how I say, yeah, it'll probably do fine. Immediately gets it lodged between, well, one rock and another rock. But actual grip-wise on the rocks, it's great. Yeah, I mean, actual grip-wise, it's awesome. Now, I think personally, for me, I would like to see some more wheel options. Maybe a couple of, like, obviously, you could have your deep dish wheel options, but I would also like to see some options for maybe some, like, let's just imagine, for example, that this is a 40 on a 24 or a 26. I'd love to be able to have, like, a 40 on a 17 or a 40 on an 18. Like, not necessarily as the default option, but definitely as a option if, like, we wanted to take it down some trails or something. So, let's ease her on down off of this rock. Come on, there you go. Whoa. We probably scraped up our bumper a little bit doing that, but I'm not really worried about it. Whoa. Although, if it was my real truck, dude, I'd be putting some high clearance bumpers on it ASAP because, dude, I'd be using the thing. I'd be out in the wilderness with it. I was throwing it high and see how she does in the mud. Grip seems to be great. I mean, now granted, you know, Banks' trucks have always been known for being very fast and very, like not really cared about what was in front of them, and they just kind of go through everything. And this thing, you know, when you put it in low plus, it is pretty good. It's not, like, ultra over the top, but it's definitely enough to be able to get anywhere that you would need to go. Now, that's the second mud hole, and it did really, really well. I think I will just give it a shot at the pond. It's probably not going to do all that great, but we're going to give it a go just to see. And okay, so when you put it in low, it's definitely, it's like, it's doable. It's definitely going to get some water up in the engine bay, and it's going to complain about that a little bit. It's going to get you some engine damage, but it's not necessarily going to have to shy away from the pond anytime soon, or, like, you know, shy away from any mud-focused or, you know, mud and water-focused obstacles. Now, let's take it on down to the dips obstacle, where I'm sure it'll do just fine, because the suspension height is plenty high. Plenty high. Whoa! I'm actually really surprised it didn't roll over right there. I wanted to kind of push the suspension a little bit and see how it would do. God, if you don't want it to be, like, really lurchy, you have to put it in low minus. Or mega low. Or whatever you want to call it. But, like, man, yeah, with this tire size and this suspension height, like, it'll bottom out a little bit, but not anywhere near enough to worry about it, you know, going through, like, large dips like this. And when you put it to the test, I mean, it really does pass with flying colors, absolutely. And you could angle it if you wanted to, but the point of this test is really to show that in this truck, you really don't have to. You know, like, you really wouldn't have to angle through obstacles like that. Now, let's see. Is there really much to speak of on the interior? Not really. I mean, it's there, but it's not necessarily, you know, an interior to write home about. But again, you know, Banks has never really been super big on the interiors. Let's see how she does down a side trail. Firstly, in automatic mode. This is about half throttle in automatic mode, and it's doing pretty well. Like, I don't have any complaints about it at all. I think it would be able to go down any trail that you would put in front of it, no problem at all. Even with these, you know, these deep dish wheels. Even you get into the throttle a little bit, and it'll keep its momentum going fine. Yeah, it's only when you get the truck buried up to, like, well beneath the axles, that are well above the axles, I should say, well above the axles, that it starts to kind of have issues with going at speed through the mud. But mud like this, I mean, we're still in freaking, well, we were in fourth gear for a second, and then once it got, you know, real deep there, we had to go back down to first and second gear, but that's okay. Yeah, that's never an issue. Now let's see how she does if we attempt to climb something, especially if we attempt to climb something that we shouldn't climb. I always love to put these vehicles in situations that they're really not supposed to be in and see how they react. Oh, wow. She reacted just fine, I think. Oh, God. Oh, it grabbed a shrub. Why you do this? Why? Again, the quick winch is like, a shrub. I'll definitely grab that instead of an actual tree. I much prefer shrubs over actual trees. Actual trees are not my interest. All right, let's go back one more time. Whoa, that was weird. It didn't want to reverse on me. Yeah, there's definitely some glitches within the suspension that will need to be worked out, obviously, but it's a work in progress, you know? It's a work in progress, and it's a continuation of a mod that I think was really loved by a lot of people, and I'm really happy to see it back. Because I even get, you know, questions, you know, in the comments and on the video, or sorry, in the comments and on the stream sometimes, like, you know, where's Banks? Is he doing any new trucks? And he, like I said before, he seems to have moved away from SnowRunner a little bit, but I'm really glad that someone has stepped up to kind of continue his legacy. So let's ease it on up. There we go. Ow. So it will make its way up here. I mean, a little bit of winch action, and it'll make its way up here. I dig it. All right, let's take the quick way down. Yeah, yeet. Whoop. Actually, it did that with surprisingly low consequences. I was expecting to be upside down and, you know, turtle mode on the roof. 100% expecting to be in turtle mode. Oh, there's the rollover. Yep, I wanted to see how far I could push it. And you could push it pretty far, actually. You can push it surprisingly far before it really does give in to physics. But let's grab, I guess, just one more of the same thing and just pull it back over. All right, let's fire you up. And pull it on over. There we go. Hey, she's good to go. Repair and refuel, and time to head for the bridge jump. Now, I do think this thing is going to do really well on the bridge jump, because if there's one thing we all know about Banks' trucks, they're always fast. They're always fast. They're not necessarily the fastest thing in the game at this point. I mean, it was definitely one of the faster trucks in SnowRunner when it originally came out, but, you know, trucks that are way faster have come out since then, but that's okay. I mean, it's definitely cool to revisit this thing in its new form, and I love how hilariously soft the flexi suspension is. I mean, it squats and goes when you get in the power. All right, 3, 2, 1, go! Dude, like I said, I mean, when you pour on the power, it gives it the beans. Let's go! Oh my god, not as far as I thought it would go. I mean, hit a good amount of the barrels, though, and 0 damage. That's pretty impressive, actually. The fact that we ended up with 0 damage after that, I'm pretty okay with that. I'm pretty impressed with that. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.